In Python, a list is a dynamic, mutable sequence. It is designed to store collections of items that will grow, shrink, and keep reorganizing themselves as your program runs. We are going to put this into practice by building a digital inventory system from scratch, categorizing digital items step by step. To follow along, all you need is a working Python code editor and a basic understanding of how variables work. Take a look at this code editor. This categorized terminal output is the exact target we are building toward today. Because lists can hold any data type and can be updated on command, mastering them allows you to start building more complex data structures in Python. Step 1 is establishing our foundational sequence. We create our inventory by assigning multiple string items to an inventory variable, wrapping them in square brackets, and separating each item with a comma. We can immediately verify that our list is stored in memory by passing our inventory variable into a standard print statement and running it. Looking at this memory diagram, Python uses zero-based indexing to retrieve specific items. The first item is at index 0, meaning if we want to pull the second item, the torch, we use square brackets and specify index 1. Python also provides a shortcut for reading backward. By using negative indexing, we can retrieve items from the end of the list without needing to calculate its total length. Index -1 will always pull the very last item. You have to be careful with your counting. If you attempt to access an index number that is equal to or greater than the total length of the list, Python will throw an index error and crash your program. By applying these index numbers, our list transitions from a basic pile of strings into a structured filing system where every element has an exact, predictable mathematical address. Pulling items one by one works for single requests, but we often need to extract specific ranges or batches of items at once. For that, we use a programmatic method called slicing. Slicing uses a start and stop syntax separated by a colon. You provide the lower bound index where you want to start and the upper bound index where you want to finish. The most common mistake here is misjudging the finish line. The upper bound in Python is exclusive. If you slice from 0 to 2, the selection will capture index 0 and index 1, stopping right before it hits index 2. If you add a second colon, you introduce the stride parameter. Setting the stride to 2 tells Python to skip every second element, allowing you to grab alternating items in the sequence. Slicing provides a concise way to isolate parts of a sequence. Instead of manually inspecting every item, you can extract an exact range of data in a single line of code. Now that we can retrieve our data, we need to alter it. Lists are mutable, meaning the object can be expanded, reduced, or completely altered in memory after you initially create it. To add a new item dynamically to the end of our existing sequence, we call the built-in .append method on our inventory variable, passing in a new string. Printing the inventory variable again confirms the modification. The top terminal shows our original setup, and the bottom confirms the potion has been successfully appended to the end of the data structure. Because list methods modify the original object in place, they return a none value. If you mistakenly try to assign the result of .append to a brand new variable, your new variable will hold nothing. This mutability is what makes lists work for live data. A character inventory or a digital catalog stays current because Python can update the list in place as the user interacts with the application. Our inventory is growing, so we need better organization. Lists are not restricted to holding strings or numbers. They can contain any Python object, including entirely separate lists. Let's create two distinct lists, one named food and one named weapons. Then we create a master list named backpack and place both of our smaller lists directly inside it. To access items inside this structure, we use double indexing. Calling backpack1 targets the weapons list, and adding a second index 1 drills down to target the shield specifically. When we run this code, the terminal isolates and prints just the shield, proving our double indexing maneuver successfully navigated the hierarchy. By nesting lists within lists, developers construct the architectural foundation for multi-dimensional data. This allows you to model real-world hierarchical relationships directly in your code. Look at the progress you have made. You successfully created a list, extracted data in bulk using slices, modified the sequence in place, and architected a multi-level nested data structure. Your next challenge is to independently explore other built-in list methods. Try using .insert to place an item at a specific index, or use .sort to arrange your inventory alphabetically. By internalizing these sequence mechanics, you now have the foundational logic needed to structure and access data in your own Python projects.